I'm Kay Patak, and this is Creator's Calendar. Today is one of the days in observation of 11 Days of Global Unity, part of an international effort to inform, inspire, and involve people in building a culture of peace and celebrating a sustainable future. During these days of global unity, we'll be hearing poetry by members of Third Stanza, a society of Ames area poets. Third Stanza meets the third Wednesday of each month from 6 to 8:30 p.m. at the City Hall. Today's poet is Jean Hagert Dow, who's a visual artist as well as a poet. She taught art for many years at Ames High School. Today you'll hear Jean reading some of her own poetry.
Moving. We're moving in our tan 37 Chevy across the river, not far into Iowa, where the tall corn grows. Only now, we're moving slowly, crawling, the whole family, mom, dad, 5 kids, on hands and knees across Iowa, across rented land, saving a corn crop from the damn weeds. Maybe South Dakota was better. No rain, no weeds, no good soil, no corn, no need to crawl across South Dakota. Quiet, serene, simple, needs, slow-paced. Mother said you had to be strong to survive in South Dakota before we moved to Iowa. Human fence. The first order of the day, Dad says, we're moving feeder pigs to higher ground. Before school, across the open farmyard. Mom and 5 kids, each with a stick, lined up, the brave and the meek, as he opens the gate. Pigs scatter, helter-skelter. Just scare 'em a little. Blankety-blank-blank. Pound your stick. Make a little noise. Large beady eyes zero in on me. Black hair like wires. Standing straight up. Smelling of slop and ooze. Straight like a flash. It dashes at me. Lickety-split I run south. Blankety-blank-blank echoes in my ears. Kitchen helper. At 7 each school morning, me, the kitchen helper, puts cobs in the farm cook stove, danced the 5 dinner pails onto the edge of the table, skipped around the kitchen, teetered on the cob box, expressing a bit of freedom while Mother watched as she mixed a batch of bread. I made choices, last night's popcorn, raisins or a dill pickle, but when the antics got out of hand, her eyes grabbed mine, meant back to work, stir the oatmeal, set the table, pour the milk, run to the cave for apples, swish and whirl with each new job. When again her eyes grabbed mine, I smiled but froze. Not for long. The table was ready. Lunches were packed. 2 hungry kids were in from the barn.
Jean is surely present here. Good morning. On behalf of the Hagert Dow family and the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Ames, I welcome you here to this sacred and celebratory hour. I'm the Reverend Kelly Clement, and I serve as minister of this fellowship. We're gathered to mourn the death and celebrate the life of Jean Rose Henrik Hagert Dow, mother, grandmother, aunt, teacher, artist, naturalist, friend, true lover of life. In the Unitarian Universalist tradition, we light a chalice to begin our time together. Mary Lee, Crystal, and James. Do they call you James or do they call you Jim? Jim. All right, let's get that right. Mary Lee, Crystal, and Jim, would you come up and light our chalice? These are the words of Albert Schweitzer. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by the spark of another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. What helps when you are living with loss and grief and great change? Jean lived a long, full life, and yet we feel her loss. The Reverend Kate Tucker answers these questions. What helps when you're living with grief, loss, and great change? This way. It helps to expect that you will be surprised. No one exactly like you has ever experienced a loss just like yours. Your inner clock, your inner landscape, your intimate story is yours and no one else's. I'll pause a moment and say that it helps to recognize that the sound of children is welcome. That as a teacher, Jean knew the sound of children, and that is welcome here. And we'll just let it go by us rather than getting hooked on it. It helps to understand that this sense of grief and loss and change will take you on an unpredictable journey, that this change is a thing that happens in your body, not just in your soul. It helps to know that your feelings can be complex and multiple. Sorrow and relief, love and anger, despair and hope can live together and yo-yo in astonishing ways. It helps when you can welcome all these feelings, show them hospitality. It helps to give sorrow words, to tell your heart to those who know how to listen and love you, the ones who don't mind at all when you've told your story over and over and over again. It helps to recognize that though your loved one dies, your relationship does not. It changes, it flows, it grows, it distills, it lives. It helps to remember that there are things you will never know, never figure out or reason your way to. You will never know what it was like for Jean to live her life from the inside. That's a holy and sacred mystery. It helps to remember that beauty does not die. It helps to know that when grief comes, it comes as a teacher. It shows us what we fear and what we love and what we hold true. It tells us, if we listen, 100 ways to honor our loved ones. Grief, loss, great change teaches us, they teach us how we wish to live our days. We were told that Jean wanted folk music. She loved folk music. And so that's what we have today. And we're going to sing together. Reggie, who was a friend of Jean's, is going to play, and we're going to sing Turn, Turn, Turn. You'll see the lyrics up here. Now, in our congregation, we stand up to sing. I'm going to give you the option if you'd like to stand up to sing or stay seated. I think that's up to you today. This is not like a regular church service, but if you feel moved by the music, please feel free to do that. Please, Reggie. Can you see it? Okay.
To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to give, a time to give, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every is a season, turn, 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 and time to every purpose under heaven.
Thank you. Please be seated. First of all, if Jean were here today, she would tell you that it is a time to celebrate her life. She would say that it was really quite an adventure. So let's start at the beginning with Jean's birth, which, strange as it sounds, was totally unexpected. She was born in a farmhouse by the Missouri River near the village of Geddes, South Dakota. Her older sister, Mary Frances, was only 11 months old at the time, and when her pregnant mother, Della's water broke on December 1st of 1930, snowflakes were swirling around in the farmyard. Della's husband, Romain, set out for town to get the local doctor, but the snowstorm strengthened, and he knew that he would never reach the physician. So he turned around and took the unfamiliar role of midwife, helping Della deliver a squalling baby girl, whom they named Joan Rose. But immediately the couple was bewildered by Della's continued contractions and urge to push, and were shocked when she gave birth to a second baby girl. They had no clue that they were expecting twins, and they named the surprising second infant Jean Rose. Now, at the time, the Henrich farmhouse had no electricity, no central heating, and no indoor plumbing. Romain used horses to plow the field, and Della cooked meals on a wood-burning stove. So caring for 3 little girls in diapers was quite the feat. This was the start of the Great Depression, and farm life was filled with hardships. Crops withered in the scorching heat and the drought of the Dust Bowl, and if that wasn't bad enough, the grasshoppers. The grasshoppers would devour every plant in sight. They must have thought they were in the time of the plagues, like the Hebrews, the time of the plagues. So it's pretty easy to understand why Romain and Della decided to sell their livestock, cows, chickens, sheep, and horses, their household goods and farm equipment in an auction in 1937, and head west in hopes of finding a more secure life. By then, there were 2 more additions, Doris and Peter, and everyone piled into the large grain truck to begin one of the biggest adventures of the children's childhood years. I'm seeing images of the Jodes, who had everything piled up, or the Beverly Hillbillies, right? Those images that we know. This was real life for the Henrich family. Their journey ended in Oregon, where the enterprising Romain managed a tourist cabin business and built a gas station nearby. The beautiful mountains and the ocean vistas of Oregon replaced the parched farm landscape of South Dakota. But Della was homesick. So, in 1938, just a year later, they moved back to the Midwest and once again took up farming. Jean had many colorful tales about her girlhood farm on a farm near Struble in northwest Iowa. She even wrote some poems about it that we heard earlier. There was a time her dad owned 2 beautiful, shiny black mules named Jack and Jill. In a poem, she said that Jack and Jill went up a hill pulling an empty wagon to the north cornfield. They walked along the corn rows slowly, a model pair of helpers. Only when the wagon was nearly full, Jack and Jill quit. They would not move. Coaxing them didn't help, pulling them didn't help, poking them didn't help. Nothing could move them. So her father unharnessed the mules and walked them back to the barn, where they stood close together. Disgusted, her dad told them that they were quitters. Useless, a waste of money, and the next thing you knew, The mules were sold and replaced with a shiny new tractor. In a poem entitled Memories, Jean mentions baby chicks living in a bedroom, 4 girls receiving 1 boy's bike for Christmas, bottle feeding newborn lambs, listening to the Lone Ranger on the floor model radio, sitting in the outhouse reading the Sears Roebuck catalog, eating freshly baked bread after school, singing along to old phonograph records, and listening in to the neighbors on the telephone party line. Party line. Central. She mentions childhood mischief with the mean old hens, and she remembers rubbing their heads in dry dirt until they wobble and fall almost deader than a doornail, clucking their scorn. As she approached high school, her parents held another farm sale and moved to a house in Lamar's, Iowa. She left the familiar classmates of her one-room schoolhouse and met new kids in a large public school, and in the process shed her farm girl persona and became a town girl. In the fall of 1948, Jean and her twin Joan walked daily across Lamar to Westmar College, where they were students in the 2-year elementary education program. Jean and Joan were actually following in the footsteps of their mother and aunt. In the 1920s, Della and her sister Mary received teacher training at Eastern Normal School in South Dakota, and Della taught in a one-room schoolhouse for 5 years. In 1951, Jean married Donald Hagert, a handsome young man she had met at a town dance. Their marriage lasted 17 years, and they had 3 children, Mary Lee, Crystal, and Jim. Jean taught elementary school for 14 years in Northwest Iowa, and her classrooms were always inviting places for learning with their constant changing and creative bulletin boards. In 1969, Jean went back to college, this time to Iowa State University, where she decided to focus on art education. And in 1971, she was hired to teach art at Ames High School. Looking back, Jean said she was very green when she was given the responsibility of teaching grades 1 through 8 in a country schoolhouse in 1950. But even in her early teaching career, she had a knack for reaching all kinds of kids on their level and never had discipline problems. This was still evident decades later when Jean's annual review, Associate Principal Bill Ripp praised her for creating relevant, engaging lessons. He said, Jean Dow provides a pleasant classroom environment for her students and has sincere concern for them. She takes advantage of media center materials, community resources, and modern technology. He added that Jean was one of the first teachers at Ames High School to incorporate the use of Mac computers in their lesson plans. Remember those big old Macs? Their first computer-related class she taught was 4-dimensional art. She was always seeking opportunities for personal growth, and she was eager to learn new techniques. She pursued a Master of Fine Arts in studio art at New York University, and as a part of her degree program, she spent 2 summers in Venice, Italy, taking art classes and studying the great Italian masters. Now, it takes a lot of chutzpah to travel alone to Italy, to find her apartment, to make her way to classes every day, all without speaking Italian. In the 1980s, she had a 10-year marriage to Dr. James Dow. He was a foreign language professor, and they traveled all over Europe. They also had lots of stateside adventures, crisscrossing from San Francisco to New York and countless places in between. In her later years, she saw the arrival of 5 grandchildren and 6 great-grandchildren. Never content to rest on her laurels, in retirement, she threw herself into new activities, continuing art education classes, civic volunteering, and committee leadership roles here at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. She was an active and beloved member here. She even dabbled in poetry writing, which we heard. Though Jean and her twin sister Joan lived 700 miles apart during their adult lives, they remained quite close. And I believe that Joan may be with us today via Zoom. Joan, we hope you're watching today, and we feel your presence here with us. As identical twins, it was eerie how often their interests, careers, and even medical conditions paralleled each other. Both of them had long teaching careers, and they were gifted artists. One year, Jean wrote a list of the 5 people who influenced me. At the top of her list was her father, Romain, who once said, "Jean can do anything she sets her mind to," and encouraged her to be brave. Second on her list was my twin sister. "I've always had a best friend." Her 94 years were filled with great adventures. And she would be quick to remind us that today is not a time of tears, but a time to celebrate her art, her beauty, her love, her nature, her love of nature, her love of all of you, to celebrate her life. I think we have some photos. We have a photo array to see now. for putting together those lovely photos. We've got some remembrances now. Abby, Kaylee, and Christopher, will you come one at a time and share with us?
Good morning, almost afternoon. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Abby Reardon. I am the favorite granddaughter. We're here today to celebrate the life of a truly remarkable woman, my Grandma Jean. Some of you might have known her as a force of nature, a woman who wasn't afraid to speak her mind or do things her own way. And yes, she was tough and fiercely independent, and perhaps a little eccentric, but that is what made her so unforgettable. My grandmother was not your Merriam-Webster grandmother. She quite literally moved to the beat of her own drum in her own living room with all of us playing along. But to me, in my heart, my grandmother was steward of the land and warden of her neighborhood. She was the first person I knew with a cell phone and a hybrid car. She was a world traveler and art classes at the Octagon. She was a popped collar, primary colors, and basketball. She was trillium and a canine companion, tiny portions and hidden people. I don't know why, I'm gonna cry. And she will always be my Christmas Eve. Under her tough exterior and quirky habits, the corn cobs, lay a heart filled with love and strength, completely out of proportion with her tiny frame. She taught us the importance of perseverance, of standing your ground, and of never being afraid to be authentically yourself. Today, we should remember her for her strength, her authentic, though sometimes challenging, personality, and I can hear her right now scolding me for saying that. And the countless memories she weaved into our childhoods. We'll miss her sharp wit, her unwavering independence, and the way she made us laugh. Though she may be physically gone, she left a little piece of herself with all of us. She was a force of nature, a woman who lived life on her own terms, and we should all feel grateful for the time we each had with her, no matter how great or small. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Kaylee Reardon. I'm Jean's great-granddaughter. She requested this poem. I'm Still With You, a Native American Prayer by Robin Drummond. I give you this one thought to keep. I am with you still, I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on the snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift, uplifting brush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not think of me as gone. I am with you still in each new dawn.
So hopefully I'll be able to get through this as well. So we'll try our best here. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Isley, the son of Mary Lee Isley, daughter of Jean. So we'll try our best. So my grandma was a very unique person. Now, I didn't get to know her whole life, but I got to know her for 30 years of my life. And to me, she was very special. So she had a bubbly, quirky personality that could never be defeated. If something was against the norm, then that's exactly what she wanted to do. If something was out there, then that's what she wanted to have. She lived in a house in the trees, drove 2-seater hybrid car, and enjoyed kohlrabi and fennel seeds for snacks. She painted abstract art that I think only she truly understood. She was one of a kind. So my memories of my grandma go back to when I was very small, visiting her for Thanksgiving and Christmas. We lived in the Twin Cities, Minnesota, and she lived in Ames, so we didn't get to visit her very much. However, for holidays, Ames was the place to be. We would get to visit with Aunt Crystal, Uncle Jim and his kids, and have dinner around the table, like you saw in the photos. Even though she celebrated holidays, she still had to add her quirky touch. She never kept a Christmas tree, more like a Christmas plant that she would decorate with ornaments. For Thanksgiving, we would eat anything and everything, except turkey, of course. That would be too mainstream. My grandma always had dogs around, and one of my favorites was Jazzy, who was the sweetest golden retriever. Even though Kevin and I were very small, my twin brother, we tried to climb on Jazzy, and she never complained and never hurt us. Eventually, Grandma got Maddie, West Highland Terrier, that you saw. Although she was much smaller than Jazzy, she decided that she was the boss. Jazzy took the abuse and never tried to fight it, even though she could have easily won if she wanted to. My dad referred to Jazzy as a pacifist. Jazzy even had a corner of her ear missing after a time Maddie nipped her and took a piece out of her. She didn't fight back. When it was time for my twin brother and I to choose where to go to college, we had a lot of competing places to choose from. We ended up choosing Iowa State, and a large reason for that was that we would have two grandmas in town, Jean and Nana Mary, who's here today. During our time at Iowa State, we would come over on Sunday afternoons to Grandma's to have lunch, and oftentimes a nap. She would greet us with, "Are you boys hungry?" The answer was always yes. Grandma would have lots of plants around, a breeze coming through her window, and birds chirping at the feeders. Before we knew it, we were fast asleep. The stress of undergraduate studies would melt away, and we knew, maybe subconsciously, that we were safe here. During our time at Iowa State, we would come over on Sunday afternoons to Grandma's to have lunch. Oh, I already read that one, sorry. After the spring semester of 2012 was over and I had no summer plans and decided to stay in Ames to do research with a professor at Iowa State. I didn't have a place to stay, and I asked Grandma if I could stay with her. I don't think the words left my lips before she said yes. So that summer, I would get up every day and have some oatmeal with Good Belly brand juice and in her Bob Anderson pottery bowls. Then head out for the day. After working in a chemistry lab, mostly washing dishes, I would come home on the Sci Ride and watch basketball with Grandma. She was a big NBA fan. It was May and June, so the playoffs were on. We watched Kevin Durant and the OKC Thunder and LeBron James and the Miami Heat battling for the NBA title. At that time, LeBron was her favorite player. Some years later, she decided Steph Curry was her favorite player. And that LeBron was, quote, mean and a bully. We reminded her that LeBron was her favorite player before, and she denied it. "I never liked LeBron," she said. Watching the NBA playoffs this year, 13 years later, something occurred to me. I never imagined that Grandma would be gone, and LeBron would still be playing. While I was in Ames, Grandma would come to my ISU band concerts, and we would also occasionally go to an art showing at the Memorial Union or Morrill Hall. I was studying chemical engineering, and she was one of the few people who was not impressed with my scientific pursuits. She would say, "But Christopher, how are you being creative?" I would have to quickly come up with some creative experiment I was thinking about performing just to get an approving nod from her. One year, she had an idea of having a little art class during the semester, I think she got a lot of pleasure teaching me, Kevin, and a couple of her local friends about 30-second drawing and scratch art. She also loved showing anyone who would look at her art pieces and asking, "Do you see the human there?" I didn't even know he was there until I was done with it. And then poof, there he was. I graduated from Iowa State in 2016, and she came to my graduation. She was happy for my accomplishment, but also sad to see me leaving Ames. I went on to South Carolina for graduate school, and during that time, I didn't get to see her very often. I still came back for Christmas, and I would update her with whatever new creative experiments I was working on. She would update me with the gossip from around the neighborhood. In 2021, I finished grad school and came back to Minnesota. Grandma was still living on West Bend Circle, but she wasn't getting out and walking as much. In the summer of 2022, she fell and broke her hip, and my mom and I drove down to be with her in the hospital. She had to go to assisted living after that. That was a couple years ago. And she was not a fan of assisted living. She was a free spirit and liked being independent. Being cooped up like that was challenging for her. My girlfriend Rachel and I came to visit a few times, and I wish I'd come more often, but she was always so happy to see us. Even this last December, which was the last time I saw her, she looked so happy to see Kevin and me visit her as well. And we had a little art session doing 30-second art, like you saw. When I think of Grandma, I think of a small person, but bold in personality, one who is always willing to test the boundaries of normal. Someone who loved to be uniquely herself and absolutely did not care what anyone thought of her. A moment that comes back to me was when she was being taken away for her hip surgery in 2022. The doctor told my mom and I, well, if she doesn't have the surgery, she's probably got 6 weeks. So there was no question that she was going to have the surgery. But she was 91 years old at the time, and any type of major surgery is risky at that age. She wasn't worried about it at all. She signed the paper giving them permission to do it herself. Go ahead. As they took her into the operating room, my mom and I were anxiously watching on, and she said, "Every day is a new adventure."
We have some time for other stories and memories to be shared if you would like. I will bring the microphone to you if you just put your hand up and tell me if you'll say your name and how you're related to Jean or the family so everybody knows. Who would, and I'm comfortable just letting it be silence until the spirit moves you. So somebody have a brief memory or story to share? Actually, let's do it so the people online can hear, if you don't mind. Thank you.
You children have put together a beautiful service for your mother. You grandchildren have honored your grandmother beautifully and honestly. She was a force, and she was a beautiful, beautiful person. I think that one of the things I drove from Jean was her dignity and her strength when she faced adversity.
Thank you. Kevin. I'm going to reach through there.
Yeah, I'm Kevin Isley. I'm Chris's twin, a granddaughter of Jean. Grandson. Sorry. Yeah. It's the hair. Yeah. I'm actually the new favorite granddaughter now. Just kidding. Ay, caramba. I guess one of my favorite memories is, oh man, there's so many I have and so many wonderful ones. But I was like a vegetarian for 9 years. And so I told Grandma I was a vegetarian. And then I remember, I think it was like when I was in my undergrad, I came over and she's like, oh, Kevin, I bought you this lamb chop 6 months ago because I knew it was on sale and I know it's your favorite. And of course, being Grandma, you can't say no to her. And so I ate it. It was so amazing and delicious. And she was so thankful, but I will say that night was not the best night.
Thank you. You took one for the team, one for Grandma. Oh, over here.
I'm Mary Kay, and I first met Jean when our children fell in love, and a baby was on the way. They were so young. Jean and I disagreed on whether or not they should be married. Well, Amy's family prevailed, and they were married. Later, after 4 children, they were divorced. Jean and I and our families remained friends throughout that time. The last time I saw her was at one of our family gatherings to celebrate this wonderful family that we have. Her family meant so much to her. It was more important than what other people thought. I learned a lot from Jean.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Okay. Well, if others are not eager to stand up and share, I know that you will be telling Jean's stories and sharing these memories as we have refreshments afterwards and throughout the rest of your lives. You will continue telling her story and the way she influenced you, and you'll do something on some day and you'll think of her and think, oh, Jean, oh, I wish I could call her and talk about that, or that's how she would have done something. You'll keep telling these stories. Thank you. Thank you for your shares. We're going to sing again. This land is your land. And I think we should stand up for this one. And I don't think we're singing every verse that was ever written. And this was her request. And the lyrics will be up here for us.
This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I went walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I went walking and I followed footsteps to the sparkling sands of her diamond deserts. Now all around me a voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me. sun kept shining, then I was strolling, the wheat fields waving, and the dust clouds rolling. A voice came chanting as the walk was lifting. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to New York Island, from Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
All right. Thank you, Reggie. Please be seated. I will extinguish our chalice here with these words. We extinguish this flame and we remember love is at the center as we explore and we rest, engage and heal and make art and create family and share songs, all of it. Love is at the center. And when all we see is cold ashes, we remember love remains. In just a few moments, the family will exit first to our fireside room right here, and then you're all invited to join in, to have some refreshments, a little lunch, conversation, an opportunity to see more photos of Jean's life and view her art. And the family will leave at 2 o'clock for a private inurnment of Jean's ashes. Mary Lee, did you want to say something about people taking pieces of her art, or have you already made arrangements for that? Okay. Don't take anything if you haven't been asked to do so. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Come back for the art show. This is the legacy that Jean leaves us. To choose the path less taken, to choose the odd one out, to do the thing that's a little quirky to see how it might be, to collect some corn cobs for who knows what reason, to make, oh, there's an answer. To make our family and our friends find beauty and laugh, and to be a lover of nature, to make art in 30 seconds or 3 hours or 3 years, to enjoy this life every moment of it. Let that be Jean's legacy to us as this relationship continues on and on. We're going to end with one more song, I'll Fly Away. Please stand as you're able.
Some bright morning, when this life is over, I'll fly away to that home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away when the shadows of this life are gone.